This is Radio Luxembourg.
Make friends with Horniman's, Horniman's Yellow Dividend Tea. Make friends with Horniman's, the tea that makes friends is Horniman's. Whatever time of day it be, they'll welcome Yellow Dividend Tea. Make friends with Horniman's, the tea that makes friends is Horniman's Yellow Dividend Tea.
The time now is 11 o'clock, British Summer Time, midnight Central European Time. The makers of Stay Blonde and Brunatec shampoos bring you Europe's #1 pop music program, Radio Luxembourg's Top 20, with some of the week's hottest records, a look at some of the top news of the day from the pages of tomorrow's Daily Mirror, our tip for the top, and later in the program, an interview with Jerry Marsden, who, along with the Pacemakers, is going to have words with those other Merseysiders, the Beatles, for what's happening at the top of the charts. But we'll begin the show at the very bottom, On Its Way Out, End of the World by Skeeter Davis.
Why does the sun go on shining? Why does the sea rush to shore? Don't they know it's the end of the world? 'Cause you don't love me anymore. Why do the birds go on singing? Why do the stars glow above? Don't they know it's the end of the world? It ended when I lost your love. I wake up in the morning and I wonder why everything's the same as it was. I can't understand, no I can't understand how life goes on the way it does. Why does my heart go on beating? Why do these eyes of mine cry? Don't they know it's the end of the world? It ended when you said goodbye. Why does my heart go on beating? Why do these eyes of mine cry? Don't they know it's the end of the world? It ended when you said goodbye.
Number 20 on the charts this day in May 63, Skeeter Davis with The End of the World. And after getting only as high as 18 last week, I rather think that's the end for Skeeter Davis too. I'll be back with the rest of the chart placings right after this.
Them bones, them dry bones, no gravy on them old dry bones, no goodness in them old dry bones. It's gravy dinner for dogs.
Amazing new gravy dinner. Look, just add water and you've real homemade gravy right in the bowl.
New gravy dinner for dogs. There's good meat in gravy dinner, a real good meat in gravy dinner. There's 4 good meals in gravy dinner, new gravy dinner for dogs.
New gravy dinner, the only instant meaty dinner that actually makes its own gravy. Just add water and in moments you've real homemade gravy right in the bowl. Smells so good.
It's gravy dinner for dogs.
Yeah.
This is Radio Luxembourg, the great 208, the ring-a-ding-a-swinging station of the stars.
your station of the stars. Radio Luxembourg 208 on the medium wave band with this week's Top 20. Billy Fury is on his way out after getting up to number 3 with Like I've Been Gone. Last week he was 17, this week 19. Like You'll Soon Be Gone too, Billy. 2 newcomers in the charts this week. At number 18, the Chiffons with He's So Fine. And at 17, Del Shannon with Two Kinds of Teardrops. Irish balladeer Ronnie Carroll got as high as number 6 with the Norman Newell song Say Wonderful Things. But it's down to number 16 this week, a drop of 2 since last Sunday's charts. Then Jed Harris and Tony Meehan have a newie that's come in this week at 15 called Scarlett O'Hara, inspired, I guess, by the old film Gone with the Wind. Speaking of celebrated ladies, did you see the news item about Mandy Rice Davies enjoying herself on the beach in Mallorca? She's quoted as saying, "It's so lovely to be free in the fresh air again." The 18-year-old flew to Palma on Thursday after being fined £12 at West London Court the previous day for motoring offences. She says that her romance with Spanish nobleman José Francisco de Villalonga is over, and she'll stay all summer in Mallorca to write a book, as she says, about the last 3 years of my life, meaning not only the Christine Keeler and John Profumo scandal. So I suspect a lot of people are feeling a bit nervous about that.
My maid, the freshest sparkling lemonade. Funny bottle, my it's fresh. Funny name,
My, it's good.
my maid. 4 at a time in this family pack. My maid.
Someone else who's nervous for a different reason is the fabulous Brazilian soccer star Pelé. The world's number 1 footballer limped into a Surrey hotel last night, doubtful about next week's Wembley clash against England, but thankful at least that his career hadn't been wrecked in a car crash. 3 members of the Brazilian team escaped with cuts and bruises when their taxi piled into a tram in Hamburg. The world champions hope to be in shape in time for the game. But Alf Ramsey, England's team manager, believes that England can beat Brazil, despite the fact that Pelé and co defeated West Germany 2-1. Meanwhile, Cup finalists Leicester City are sending a special invitation to Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton to join them in the 3 guinea seats at Wembley on May the 25th, and afterwards in their commiseration binge at London's Dorchester Hotel. By the way, those soccer hooligans are still misbehaving as badly as ever. After watching Saturday's Scottish Cup final in Glasgow between old rivals Rangers and Celtics, which incidentally ended up a 1-1 draw, fans returning to Belfast, Northern Ireland, started rioting on board ship. Captain W.R. Pitkeithley was just 200 yards out from Glasgow's Lansfield Quay when he ordered his steamer, the Irish Coast, to return. There were 1,000 supporters aboard, and clashes were reported in the ship's bar and on deck. As bottles flew and windows were smashed, catering staff refused to work on without protection. Back in dock, 80 policemen raced on board to break up the fighting. Incidentally, police are not looking forward to Wednesday. That's when the replay is to be held. And speaking of unsportsmanlike sporting figures, you don't expect tennis players to be rude and immature, but tennis star Carol Rosser was told yesterday she'd have to behave or risk being sacked from a British touring team. The warning follows Thursday's fiery match when Carol was defeated by South African Virginia Wade at London's Hurlingham Club. There was shouting, rackets were tossed aside, and the umpire had to step between the two girls to restore order. What is the world coming to?
Why don't you make a date with 208? Your friendly station entertains the nation. Hear your favorite disc jockey spin the hit tunes of the day. Top singers, bands, and funny men to chase your cares away. So join your friends and tune in, make your evening bright and gay. 208 on the dial, make a date on the dial with 208.
You're listening to the Top 20 from Radio Luxembourg, and on we go to the Top 15. After several weeks at the top, Cliff Richard and the Shadows are on the way down with that film theme of theirs, Summer Holiday.
We're all going on a summer holiday. No more working for a week or two. Fun and laughter on a summer holiday. No more worries for me or you. For a week or two. We're going where the sun shines brightly. We're going where the sea is blue. We've seen it in the movies. Now let's see if it's true. Everybody has a summer holiday, doing things they always wanted to. So we're going on a summer holiday to make our dreams come true. For me and you. We're going where the sun shines brightly. We're going where the sea is blue. We've seen it in the movies. Now let's see if it's true. Everybody has a summer holiday, doing things they always wanted to. So we're going on a summer holiday to make our dreams come true. For me and you.
Cliff Richard and the Shadows with their number one hit of a couple of months ago, still holding on to number 14 in this week's Top 20, title tune from their movie Summer Holiday. Speaking of movies, did you see that last night the Anglo-American film Lawrence of Arabia landed 4 top British awards, a month after winning 7 American Oscars? The British Film Academy named the desert epic as the best 1962 film from any source, which meant, of course, that it automatically won the vote for the best British film of last year. In addition, it was voted Best British Screenplay, and Peter O'Toole, who plays Lawrence, was named Best British Actor. That was good news for Irishman O'Toole, who failed to win an American Oscar. The award for the Best British Actress went to Leslie Caron for her performance in The L-Shaped Room, and British actor Tom Courtenay was chosen as Most Promising Newcomer for his part in The Loneliness of the Long-Distance Runner. The Duke of Edinburgh was guest of honour at the prize giving in a London hotel. Of course, here in the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg, we weren't able to take in the gala evening, but our congratulations to all the winners. Back to the Top 20 now, and the little miss from Atlanta, Georgia, who celebrated her 19th birthday last December, Brenda Lee. Her latest release entered the charts last week at 16, now is number 13 on the Luxembourg Top 20.
Don't sigh a sigh for me. Don't ever cry for me. This is goodbye for me. I know it through. I'm losing you. Love sang its song for me. Then things went wrong for me. Nights are too long for me because I'm losing you. Our love and our devotion were deep as any ocean. Then one day, like the tide, you began to change, and you became a perfect stranger. Someone is holding you, sharing the lips I knew. I can't believe it's true that I am losing
Well, Pop Pickers, the question is, will she continue to go up the charts, or is 13 going to be unlucky for Brenda Lee? That's her position on this week's charts, according to the New Musical Express, with Losing You. Now, don't you get lost. We'll be back with more chart sounds after this.
Men, here's a bit of advice for you. You want to please a girl, here's what you do. You bring her Baby Sham.
Everyone loves Baby Sham, the genuine champagne berry.
Young girls, older girls, shy girls, bolder girls, they all go for you in a real big way. Ask any girl, she's sure to say,
I'd love a Baby Sham. Everyone loves Baby Sham, the genuine champagne berry.
it's the Baby Sham magic that does the trick, pleases all the girls. Double quick, charming girls or disarming girls, irresistible girls with a winning way. Ask any girl, she's sure to say,
I'd love a Baby Sham.
to get a party going at a swinging pace, you need lots of Baby Shams. To take home a case, only 42 shillings for a case of 24. And remember, everybody asks for more Baby Sham.
Everyone loves Baby Sham, the genuine champagne berry. Baby Sham's a party in itself.
Back to the sound of the hits now on Radio Luxembourg, your station of the stars. This is the top East Coast vocal group with Frankie Valli's falsetto leading the way, the Four Seasons. They're still at number 12 in the top 20 this week, and the song, Walk Like a Man. Four Seasons still number 12 as they were last week on the top 20 with Walk Like a Man. Number 11 this week is Tommy Rosewaxing of the Folk Singer. Number 10, The Shadows without Cliff Richard with Foot Tapper. And at number 9, still holding on after 2 months in the top 20, this bit of history. The late Buddy Holly with Brown-Eyed Handsome Man.
Oh, resting on the Georgia of a honey and comb, and he was sitting in the witness stand. The judge's wife called him the that brown-eyed man. Jump better than that brown-eyed man. Flying across the desert in a TWA, I saw a woman walking across the sand. She'd been walking 30 miles to New Bomb Vader. Brown-eyed handsome man. The destination was brown-eyed handsome. Way back in 52,000, the back of this world began. There's been a whole lot of good women chasing tears among a brown-eyed handsome man. A lot of trouble with a brown-eyed handsome man.
Remarkably still in the charts 4 years after the plane crash in Iowa that also claimed the lives of Richie Valens and the Big Bopper. The late Buddy Holly, number 9 this week on the Top 20 with Brown-Eyed Handsome Man.
This is Radio Luxembourg.
Now time for some of the top stories from tomorrow's edition of the newspaper that everyone's reading, the Daily Mirror.
One of the top stories of the day is a continuing saga of British businessman Mr. Greville Wynne, accused by the Russians of being a spy. Mrs. Sheila Wynne has arrived in Moscow for the trial, which begins tomorrow. Although he will be meeting West German Chancellor Dr. Konrad Adenauer, President Kennedy will not be visiting Ulster during his European tour this summer. It had been hoped that the American president would dedicate the Giant's Causeway as a national park. Mr. Kennedy faces more problems at home and abroad. In Birmingham, Alabama, hundreds of Negro children chanting anti-segregation freedom songs are being dragged off the streets and herded like cattle into the already crowded jails. Police Chief Eugene Bull O'Connor said, "By the time the sweep is over, I expect to have about 5,000 Negroes behind bars." Comedian Dick Gregory was at the head of the procession and the first to be bundled into a police wagon. And America's next man-in-space shot due this month is giving the president another headache. Gordon Cooper will be the first U.S. astronaut to fly over Red China's territory, and the White House refuses to recognize Red China's existence. What worries the president if Cooper has to make an emergency landing in China? Those and other stories in tomorrow's edition of the Daily Mirror, with a daily circulation of over 4 million copies.
For all that's worthwhile, your radio dial is on Radio Luxembourg.
Your request records will always play. If you drop a note to us and do it right away, give the tune on the label and your favorite star. Tune in to 208, my friends, and there you are.
And all you have to do for that request card is put on that 4-penny stamp and send it to Radio Luxembourg, 38 Hertford Street, London, West 1.
He cares, she cares about the way she wears her hair. Give it that shade lighter look with Hilton.
This is the Top 20 on Radio Luxembourg, your friendly station of the stars, coming your way on 208 meters medium wave and 49.26 meter shortwave. I'm David Gell, and we've reached that point in the program where I pick one of my tips for the tops in the record mirror. And in this rapidly changing period in British pop music, with that new group, the Beatles, leading the way, it's hard even to get halfway through a program without a record or at least a song by them. Like Jerry and the Pacemakers and Cilla Black, Billy J. Kramer and the Dakotas are in the Brian Epstein Liverpool stable. And with a pedigree like that, I think they stand a very good chance of making it big. Billy J. originally was lead vocal with a Mersey group called the Coasters, but Brian Epstein teamed him up with the Manchester group the Dakotas, and to my ears the resulting sound is a winner. See what you think. My tip for the top this week, the brand new recording by Billy J. Kramer and the Dakotas of a song written by two members of the Beatles, John Lennon and Paul McCartney, Do You Want to Know a Secret?
You'll never know how much I really love you. You'll never know how much I really care. But listen, do you want to know a secret? Do you promise not to tell? Whoa, whoa, closer. Let me whisper in your ear. Say the words I love to hear. I'm in love with you. Closer. Let me whisper in your ear. Say the words I love to hear.
that's my top 20 tip for this week. Billy J. Kramer and the Dakotas with a new one by John Lennon and Paul McCartney, Do You Want to Know a Secret? And I'll share a secret with you. I reckon that not only will that be a hit, but if George Martin ever decided to release the song from the Beatles' album as a single, it could be a hit too. What's really surprising, of course, is that the Beatles just don't exist as far as America's concerned. Here they are, new group coming from nowhere, taking our charts by storm, and no one west of Land's End has ever heard of them. Well, someone everyone has heard of, Noel Coward, is in London for a very special reason. The master flew from Geneva today to see a production of his play Private Lives. And why the revival in interest in a play which he wrote and starred in 1930? Well, it seems that he read some complimentary notices of a production by the Hampstead Theatre Club, and this afternoon they put on a special matinee so that Mr. Coward could return to Geneva this evening. The 63-year-old actor, playwright, and generally well-loved master of all trades remembered fondly Gertrude Lawrence in the role of Amanda and Laurence Olivier as Victor. Another great talent of a totally different nature, Sammy Davis Jr., is in London for some special TV work and some new suits. This evening he's starring on a BBC television show, and the gossip is he'll be signing a new contract that would make him exclusively BBC as far as British viewers are concerned. Meanwhile, Sammy Davis Jr. has been in Savile Row, where he's ordered 5 suits and 3 mohair tracksuits. He said, "I go for your British tailoring in a big way. America has nothing to touch it." However, the US of A must have something special, because this week Peter Sellers, on holiday in Hollywood with his children, Sarah, age 4, and Michael, 8, said, "I like it so much out here, I'm thinking of making my home in California." Well, if that means that Mr. Sellers is going to move out of that penthouse flat he's got in Hampstead Heath, maybe I should have a word with the letting agents.
This is Radio Luxembourg.
And on Saturday evening at 11:30, you can hear Jack Jackson's Record Roundup, brought to you by the Decca Record Company. And don't forget Pete Murray's Record Show on Wednesday at 10:30, here on the Station of the Stars, Radio Luxembourg. Of course, not all the chart sounds are the big beat. The Cascades are at 8 with Rhythm of the Rain. Roy Orbison is at 7 in Dreams. And up 5 places to number 6 is Andy Williams.
Guess there's no use in hanging around. Guess I'll get dressed and do the town. I'll find some crowded avenue, though it will be empty without you. Can't get used to losing you no matter what I try to do. Gonna live my whole life through loving you. Call up some girl I used to know, after I heard her say hello. Couldn't think of anything to say. Since you're gone, it happens every day. Can't get used to losing you no matter what I try to do. Gonna live my whole life through loving you. I'll find somebody, wait and see. Who am I kidding? Only me.
Andy Williams, number 6 this week with Can't Get Used to Losing You. This is the top 20 for this Sunday, May 5th, 1963 on Radio Luxembourg, 208 meters on the medium wave band. We'll be looking at the top 5 after this message.
We'd like a sweet, and Mom's made a sweet with lots of creamy custard to make the sweet complete. Mom's made a pie, a crunchy apple pie with lots of creamy custard to make the sweet complete. Bird's creamy custard to bring out the flavor. Bird's creamy custard, more goodness to eat. Mom's made a pud, and the pud is twice as good with lots of creamy custard to make the sweet complete.
Now time to move on to the top 5 in the New Musical Express charts this week. And the Springfields are still at number 5 as they were last week with Say I Won't Be There. Australian Frank Ifield has climbed up 2 positions to number 4 with Nobody's Darlin' But Mine. And the boy from Rains in Utah, Ned Miller, looks as if his attempt for the top stopped last week at 2, as this Sunday he slipped to number 3 with From a Jack to a King. Now you ask yourself, who or what could be so strong at the top that Ned's on his way out? The answer, not surprisingly, is the Beatles, those 4 lads from Liverpool who this year are setting the music industry on its head. Last week, you may remember, Jerry and the Pacemakers were at the top with How Do You Do It? Well, this week, Jerry and the boys have been replaced by none other than the Beatles with their latest George Martin product. So I thought we'd have a word with Jerry Marsden to see how he feels about it. We've got Jerry on the phone right now. Good evening, Jerry, and welcome to 208.
Hiya, how are you?
Not too bad at all. Well, you've been number 1, and the Beatles have squeezed you out. How do you feel about that?
I'm very annoyed at them. I am really annoyed. When I see them, I will slap their wrists. After all these years of trying to get to number 1, we eventually get there, and now the Beatles have knocked us down to number 2. I shall slap their wrists severely.
But still, you were number 1 for several weeks.
Yes, that's true. It was a very nice feeling, actually, because it's a thing we never thought that we would achieve.
This was a George Martin product, wasn't it?
That's correct, yes.
Now, when Brian Epstein signed you up, you were, in fact, just the second in the stable, weren't you?
That's right, because the Beatles and ourselves actually met Brian buying records in his father's shop in Nems. And Brian came down to the cavern and found his forte and decided he wanted to get on music and manage the Beatles. And we came back from Hamburg and he asked us, could he manage us? And we said yes, so it was great.
Although it's a competition, you don't mind too much letting him in at number 1 this week?
No, I don't really mind that much, but I shall slap the wrist still. Naughty boys.
Jerry, what have you got in your date book for this week?
We're starting a British tour this week, and then later on in the year we're going across to the States and coming up to Canada, hopefully, because we haven't played it. We also go to Australia, which will be exciting. So I just go and wait, really, and then also we got to get another record out as soon as possible. It's called I Like It.
And do you think the public will like it?
I sincerely hope so. I tell you what, though, I think it might be a hit because it's written by the same guy who wrote How Do You Do It, and it's another happy-go-lucky sort of catchy little song. So I sincerely hope that the public like it. I like it. I hope they like it, and I hope you like it, and you will play it.
I will. Now you're talking about Mitch Murray, of course, aren't you?
That's correct. Good old Mitch. He's a great lad, actually. Very nice fella. We originally wrote the song How'd You Do It for Adam Faith, and Adam didn't like it. Then the Beatles got off Brian. They didn't really like it, and then Brian offered it to me, and I said yes. So when it got to number 1, Adam was sick, and so were the Beatles, and I was very pleased.
That's not bad. What do you think the chances are of it hitting the American charts?
I don't know if it's American style. I think America, not just sort of happy poppy type music. It's more British than American.
Okay, Jerry, we wish you good luck. How'd you like to introduce it for our 2-8 listeners one more time?
Certainly, and here on Radio Luxembourg, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Jerry and the Pacemakers with How Do You Do It?
How do you do what you do to me? I wish I knew. If I knew how you do it to me, I'd do it to you. How do you do what you do to me? I'm feeling blue. Wish I knew how you do it to me, but I haven't a clue. You give me a feeling in my heart, like an arrow passing through it. Suppose that you think you're very smart, but won't you tell me how do you do it?
hell for you when I do it to you.
Jerry and the Pacemakers with How Do You Do It? Number 2 this week after topping the charts for the past 3 weeks. And we'll be back with number 1 in the United Kingdom this week right after this. Look what's new in that famous window to watch.
The Saturday Night Suit by John Collier. The Saturday Night Suit by John Collier.
Look good, feel great in a John Collier suit. They're better made in every way. Perfect patterns, fabulous materials like Easy Care Terraline, styling that's way ahead in comfort, look, and fit. Yet prices start from just $10.19.6. Yes, $10.19.6. That's fantastic value. And whenever you wear a John Collier suit, you get that feeling, that swinging feeling like every night is Saturday night.
The Saturday Night Suit by John Collier.
That's what's new in that famous window to watch. And speaking of bargains, here's some news for housekeepers. Co-op tea Oriental tips on sale this week for only 1 and 4 pence a quarter. Paddy pads, the safest and best nappies for your little ones, are on sale for only 4 and 10 pence, a saving of 5 pence. And Gratis Spool Films of Glasgow offer you top quality 8mm movie film for only 19 and 11 pence. Some of this week's best buys from 208.
Green is go! Go with 208. Radio Luxembourg.
Just a few weeks ago, in fact, March 22nd in this year of 1963, I was invited to EMI House in Manchester Square, London, for a reception. Now, I get 2 or 3 such invitations every week, and I must confess, I don't bother to go to all of them by any means. But George Martin's an old pal, and I was pleased he'd had a hit with his newly signed group, the Beatles, when Love Me Do got into the charts. So, when Please Please Me came along and made it into the number 1 place, naturally had to go along to congratulate him and meet the 4 fellas from Liverpool. Now, there are only about 2 or 3 dozen of us, but when the Beatles started to play for us, I was amazed. They sounded on stage in a small reception room just like their Parlophone record. So many pop groups today are made to sound so much better than they really are through skillful studio work that it really was a pleasure to hear a group who were so good that the record sound was their own internal balance. George Martin said he was pleased to hear that because that was exactly what he was aiming for. Well, now, the Beatles have this new one, and when it hit number 3 last week, you may recall, I predicted a number 1 slot for it. And sure enough, this week, at the top of the top 20, the Beatles with From Me to You.
If there's anything that you want, if there's anything I can do, just call on me and I'll send it along with love from me to you. I got everything that you want, like a heart that's oh so true. Just call on me and I'll send it along with love from me to you. I got arms that long to hold you and keep you by my side. I got lips that long to kiss you and keep you satisfied. If there's anything that you want, if there's anything I can do, just call on me and I'll send it along with love from me to you.
And there it is, the new number 1 on the Radio Luxembourg Top 20, the Beatles, From Me to You. By the way, what you may not know is that when the Beatles made their first record, Love Me Do, which got a silver disc, From Me to You was rejected as the B-side. So they rearranged it, recorded it later, and voila, number one now. And something to watch out for. At the end of that same session, the Beatles laid down their version of Twist and Shout. John's voice apparently was so tired after the session, he could hardly sing at all, so they did it in one take. And talk is that'll be released as part of their next album, so it'll be interesting to be on the lookout for that. And that's this week's edition of the Radio Luxembourg Top 20, brought to you by the makers of Stay Blonde and Brunatech shampoos. This is David Gell and the Grand Duchy wishing you a good week ahead till our next Top 20.